NGOs didn't act in time. So
Yeah, I mean the notice was posted, yeah, and they even extended it. I think it was
I was redirected to the NGO office or committee or something like that by the when I sent my email to the to ECOSOC, the general address. They reminded me that I had to send this request to the NGO office. So that's what I did, and not I didn't have any reply so far. However.
yeah, and I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. By the way, we will have the Public Outreach Committee of the 18 SDG Coalition next Friday, and
this Friday, right?
yeah. The idea will be to move our event that in New York that was planned to be in not planned yet, but however intended to be the 13th of September, to move it to 21st of September to be near the Summit for the Future. That will allow some of us to travel one only time to New York and not two times in 20 days. So this, and also yeah, this is not the primary reason, by the way, but the primary reason will be to try to be present at the Summit for the Future, and if not possible, to make any speech over there or a presentation, we can try to have a side event. Hello. Or even if it is not an official side event, I think we can have it in the at UN Plaza 77, like the past year, and it will be, however, in in concomitance and in the same place of the Summit for the Future.
I don't understand what you're saying.
It will be a good publicity for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do, the only thing you lose by that is you lose the concurrence to the General Assembly, because it will be after the General Assembly. Would just so you don't, I don't want to make more work and more travel for people, but um we still may want to do something small, maybe even something virtual that coincides with the General Assembly rather than drop it. I mean, maybe that's Friday's discussion, but just it can't hurt. But the thing about having a side event, if we make it look really attractive, then I think it helps your position to get observer status for the main conference. As a matter of fact, it's not clear that you would be able to do a side event unless you are approved for the main event, but maybe it's a chicken or the egg or the egg or the chicken, if that makes sense.
Yes, by the way, there is also another thing that is concurring in the same days. Today I had a Zoom conversation with Claire Nelson. She is, as I understood, the representative of Ghana at UN, and she's organizing something in the same days, in the 21st or 22 of September, in the name of a thing called Alliance for Space Matters, Space Matter. And it is an initiative that is, let me say, synergistic with our initiative of the 18 SDG. And by the way, she also promised to subscribe to enter our coalition, and with her small NGO, because she has a small NGO trying to promote space development, space for all, and all these kind of things. So, by the way, this lady will be is invited to our meeting next Friday, So she will tell us better what she wants to do and maybe what she can do together, because we can maybe make our event together, their event together, or something like that. I
Mhm.
don't, to
Yeah.
be understood.
You
However,
said what was the second word of the title of her event? I didn't
space,
catch it.
space matters. Like
So Space Matters. Yes, Space
yeah, space
Matters.
matter,
Yes.
like the Black Lives Matter, the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Got it.
And,
Okay.
good. However, the meeting of today is also intended to make a short briefing about what we have done at the COPOS in Vienna and what we have to do in 2025, I think, because I don't think there will be other meetings in Vienna at COPOS in 2024. So this is then another thing we can talk a little bit. We can also talk about what we are hopefully going to do in Milano at IAC.
Right. And related to that, Adriano, there is a UN IAF workshop. Did you sign up for that?
No, but
It is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday
yeah,
in Milan before IAC.
yeah, this is a good.
And there is also the Space Solar Power IAA workshop if someone wants to dive into the technical details.
Okay, I'm taking a note about the workshop, the UN IAF workshop in Milan. IAC. Okay, we have to submit it. Yeah, I don't know. It is possible just to subscribe to that workshop.
The answer is you can go through and you can ask to be added to the attendees. It's open for a variety of different types of organizations and entities. And its focus is sustainable space, whatever that turns out to mean.
Okay.
But you will need to act fairly quickly on that if you haven't already.
Yeah. Okay. I just took a note on that, and tomorrow we take a look. Okay.
And for folks that are technically inclined, as I said, the IAA, International Academy of Astronautics, Space Solar Power Committee is having a technical review session
Okay.
on Saturday. If someone's interested in attending, let me know. And I am registered for the UN event there in Milan.
Okay. Now, yeah, also our participation to IAC after our call with Paola Pezzi, I don't know exactly where we are now. We are waiting for something from them, right? So they have to send us to put us in communication with the
Right. What it amounts to is there is a technical question. We would like some form of display that has a significant wow associated with it. And it's a choice between getting the highest resolution, largest format monitor that they have available, or being able to get an appropriate projector and make use of the monolith screen that in theory we have available. And that requires a conversation with the actual suppliers, equipment suppliers.
Yeah.
Okay, which they are, they rather begrudgingly have conceded absolutely has to happen. I did go through and contact the supplier that I used in Washington, which has DC in 2019, who happens to have allied offices around the world, including one in Milan. And they said that, tell us how you want to work with us, and we're willing to talk. But the rules of the game with respect to IAC 2024 in Milan is you're supposed to exercise the in-house system first that they have set up. And if they can't do it on a reasonable basis, we can bring in anybody, that we can afford to pay for it.
They will ask for $80,000, maybe.
Well, you'll see, this is the clear and present danger, Adriano. Okay. The actual AV bill was $10,000 in round numbers. It was actually less than that. Okay, but that's still above our budget. And the reality of the situation is that things have gotten less expensive, and we don't have to use a 20,000 lumens projector, for God's sakes. Okay, but we can, we have to ask the questions and do the responsible thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but now we are waiting for them, right? We are waiting.
That's correct. They are to provide us this week
just to be sure
with the actual
deadlock,
human being.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, so about couples, yes, I think both Werner and myself can say something about the General Assembly that was held, the 67th General Assembly of Couples in Vienna in June. We were both over there. Marie-Louise was there too, and Barnhard was with us for the first 3-4 days. Then he went back to Vulcano with his students. However, we had the possibility to make a speech, just a 5-minute speech, but I took 8 minutes, and I was scolded for that because but however, my speech is in on YouTube, and I think all of you have the possibility to see it. And I can say it got a good it was well received by several participants in the assembly. Some states, some delegates that we had informal talks and say that it was a very good talk. And yeah, I think my tentative was to show up like the fencer of the space aspiring countries. So the countries that are not yet spacefaring, but they want to be, and they want to achieve the capacities and to understand and to learn, etc., etc. So this was the intention when I have talked about the permanent space revolution, where new countries are joining each day, the couples and the space community, and the space community should be open, 100% inclusive, to help them to join, and of course the newcomers don't need to go through the long road that the pioneers have gone, 60 years road, because they can get profit of the experience of the forerunners. And yeah, so this is more or less the image that I tried to build for SRI in that context, because of course what we need is to get possibly a non-aligned country, better maybe an African country or a South of America country that are not yet in the Artemis Accords or in the ILRS, that can endorse the 18 SDG proposal and present it to the UN General Assembly. because yeah, this was the warning that Alfred and Carlton Johnson made from the very beginning of this adventure, that if the proposal of the 18 SDG would be presented by an aligned country, doesn't matter if Western or Eastern, immediately it will get the opposition of the other party. Therefore, the best thing would be to get a country that is not aligned. And we are working in this direction. Today, I have spoken with this lady from Ghana, but I was not able yet to understand if she has proper contacts. I mean, if she can try to involve the government of Ghana or not. This is something that we will maybe try to understand better in Friday when she will participate to our meeting. And
Adriano, did you research the issue of New Zealand?
New Zealand. New Zealand is not part of Artemis? No.
At this point, as far as I know, they have not signed the Artemis Accords. I could be wrong. Okay. But as far as they're not exactly not aligned, but they are, in their own particular world in those regards. Frequently, take positions that are more planet oriented as opposed to alignment oriented.
Okay.
So that may be, when we have the advantage of having Amalie there and Eric Dahlstrom.
Yeah, we can try to work with Emmeline and try to reach the government of New Zealand by
and they're not that many degrees of separation apart because of the program that they're working on there.
Yeah. Okay. So well, by the way, currently I don't know what NSS is doing on this topic of the 18 SDG, because Alfred, unfortunately, Alfred is not feeling well with his health. He had a couple of heart episodes a few days ago, and he went to an hospital. And now he wrote to me a few words today that he feels better now, but he continuously going to doctors to make electrocardiograms and all these kind of things. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Alfred has resigned from the NSS board, and also he will not follow up with COPOS. And this is very, very bad, because he was very passionate about that. And so I think that this means that his health is really risky to be compromised. And so let me say, Alfred was our best conjunction with the NSS board, and nowadays is we have
okay.
So
with respect, Adriano, with respect to the NSS board, I'm of course a board member and the director of strategic relationships. Okay, and Force for the society. With respect to the NSS International Committee, it's between you and Carlton. Okay, I am specifically by his request disallowed for participation. As a NSS leader in the same, something about how when in the military, when you have a change in command, the old commander isn't supposed to be around. I don't get it. It has nothing to do with running a nonprofit volunteer organization, but that's what's in his head. So bless his little heart. But we're With respect to the Dale Scran, the chief operating officer, I have with him and NSS. As soon as we get, because Anita passed away, okay, we have to, the requirement is that I have to submit a formal proposal with a budget, and NSS has indicated that they're, Dale Scran's indicated that he's going to live by Anita's commitment, but that it can't just be a CEO thing. Okay, it's got to be an executive committee thing, and we have to give them a detailed budget that closes the ties, and that's what we got to do. And we'll get that answer. We do know that they want to, that NSS wishes to go and make available in multiple forms the Space Solar Power Report that's being worked on now. That there's a definite commitment to participate, not just at a as a a normal share co-sponsor, but as a primary sponsor. But we've got to give them straight answers, and we don't have those straight answers yet.
Okay, so well, by the way, Friedrich Janet was not possible to come to Vienna because his child was in the hospital for 4 days. So so he had to cancel.
So I can reach out. We can reach out to Frederick Janet, and we can loop him in, and that's perfectly fine. I have no. We have a cordial professional relationship in those regards. Bless you.
Salute.
And for that matter, Carlton and I, in our own special way, get along.
Well, Carlton just sent me a message saying that he is the new CEO after he passed away, and he told me that we will continue her work together, and he was very friendly. But yeah, this was the last communication I had from him just after ISDC, let me say. So maybe it's worth that I will write maybe an email to him asking.
Open up whatever channels you can there, but I was just giving you a heads up that NSS hasn't disappeared on this. We're working with the senior operating officer Dale Scran, and we will for the 18th SDG exhibit more broadly with respect to the UN and the 18th SDG. I think that we're the tack that Barnhard and I were taking of trying to make it clear that this is something that makes sense in terms of what we're trying to accomplish, whether or not it is added on in some official capacity as the 18th SDG. If we're actually talking about it and what it means and what can be done, we've won. Okay, we brought the issue to the table, and it is part of the conversation, and that's that is I think emphatically from a mindshare perspective a very important thing. And that's why with this committee for the future thing, the fact that they added in the space component in their agenda, I think is an important consideration. I think the whole idea of how the response that you got from at Copus from the senior leader actually thanking SRI specifically for the input provided in putting on notice the importance of such perspectives, I think is a very valuable thing, Adriano. They're listening.
Of course, we will go ahead. We are going ahead whatever NSS will be doing or not doing. I hope we can work together in a
And
partnership.
the answer is yes from any, I am the lead with respect to the IAF for NSS. I am the IAF representative. We're moving forward with everything that I've said. I just can't, with respect to the international committee and what Carlton does. That's between you and Carlton. He doesn't talk to me except for special set piece.
I think that Carlton is any more involved in the international committee.
He may not be. Okay. And if that's the case, then that whole thing just blows over.
It's Friedrich.
Well, but as CEO, he still has jurisdiction over it, even if he's not involved, right?
Yes. And there's this little sticking point that I technically work as the director of strategic relationships. I work for the CEO. However, I don't work for Carlton. So I am in a, I'm kind of in a bureaucratic, roadrunner, cartoon imitation here. But Dale Scran and I have agreed that, some things in life are, not written down and dealt with in unusual ways. And that's what we're doing.
Okay. The transition stage, let me say, probably.
Yeah.
Well, okay, what else? Maybe some of you can be curious about how was the discussion in the General Assembly of COPOS. And yeah, both me and Werner, we took our notes about the different days, the different discussions, and the points. The main point in our discussion was sustainability, space sustainability, and all the interventions, all the speeches were rotating around the concept of sustainability and for what space can do for the countries, space for all the countries, and so on, and these kind of things. And in parallel to this discussion, there was the moon. Of course, the moon is a very important point because why? Because it seems that we are going to the moon in 1 or 2 years. Therefore, the discussion was, let me say, some kind of parallel discussion about the cislunar activity and the use of lunar resources, of all these kind of things. And let me say the most important side event that took place was was around the cislunar activities. The title was Reflections on the cislunar activities, something like that. It was organized by two guys that are have let me say a good position. They are both NGOs. They are Christopher Johnson, and Christopher Johnson is the author of the book. Let me show it to you. This book is a kind of vademecum about how couples work, and it was written by Christopher Johnson. The other guy is Antonino Selmeri, is an Italian one, and he is from the Moon Village Association, I think. Werner, help me, please. Antonino is from Moon Village Association.
Moon Village, the people doing International Moon Day on July 20th.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Antonino Selmeri is from Moon Village Association, right? Am I right?
Yep. Oh, and by the way, I'm the vice president.
Okay, however, Good. So these two guys organized this event. It was at, after 6 o'clock, so after the closure of the assembly. There was a lot of people, including Arti Holamaini, the director of UNUSA. And it was a very interesting discussion. There were some people that made very good intervention, like Mexican guy called Medina, something like that, that make a very good representation of what people are going to do on the moon. And he didn't hide the quantum of unknown that there is in this adventure, because he said we can make all the discussion we want about the best rules to make to make things fairly, etc., etc. But then people will go there, they will face the problems of being there, they will try to solve it, and they will make things, and these things will make the story, the history. Okay, so yeah, more or less he said this, and it was a very good statement that yeah, I found it interesting. By the way, what else can we say? Yeah, in each discussion there was contraposition between the Russian delegation and the Ukraine delegation, and of course United States and UK and the European countries on the side of Ukraine, and always the Russian delegate exercised his right to respond to all of this statement. And the point was that they are using missiles. So in some way, the war between Russia and Ukraine is a matter of interest for COPOS, because COPOS is the Committee for the use of peaceful uses of outer space. Therefore, if missiles are going up and down, then COPOS is eligible to say something and to discuss and so on. But let me say that of course, the atmosphere was not quite good, because this continues counterposition in some way depressed the discussion, you know, and it couldn't be different, of course. Okay. How SRI performed, and yes, I think we notwithstanding the fact that we stole 3 more minutes, I think we were well received and well accepted, and Arti Holamaini was very kind with me, and yeah, we had a short conversation during the party, and she is really a beautiful person, and yeah, and I think we are, and also, yeah, another important thing, Marie-Louise had exchanged a few words with Arti Olamaini, and she expressed her appreciation for the fact that space philosophy is now at COPOS. And yeah, we're very happy about that, and I think is a good point for us. Now, about the delegations, I think okay, Werner lives near Vienna, therefore doesn't need to travel very much to join the meetings. So I think he can be a permanent delegate for SRI.
Yes, of course, I will be, and I will attend next year.
Yeah, and Marie-Louise also said that she wants to be present. And yeah, this is another good thing, because I believe that maybe some of her concepts can be well vehiculated in that context. And Amalie also expressed her interest to travel to Vienna when needed and when possible. Amalie, can you confirm that?
I am at
Amalie?
the,
Yeah. Hello,
Yeah.
Adriano. Yeah, I can do. I mean, it would be lovely to be there. But what I'm a bit more concerned about is how we develop some more of the more deeply the rationale that is kind of guiding this. I feel the midterm paper in February made a difference, and I would very much like to see something drawn up before September, a kind of overview on several different aspects that I think are important. But I don't know what you're planning to draw up in terms of paperwork for September. So
Yes, I'm working now. Just in these days, I am making the presentation of my paper on our paper on peace, Space for Peace, that I have to present at the AAC. And so I am just making a slide presentation for the paper. And I think we will have to have a proper meeting just to finalize the paper, because we have to upload it to the final version to be uploaded to the IAC website.
yeah, that's October. That's later, isn't it? In Milan.
I believe we need to find a day, maybe in August or early September, to make a meeting, a Zoom call discussing between the co-authors, among the co-authors, and I will present my presentation, my slide presentation, so we can reconfirm some points, discuss, etc. in the same. But before then, if anyone can want to comment the paper, I think all of you have had the my draft. So please comment and read it.
Oh, okay. So would it be all right if I go through and maybe make a note of certain points that might be stressed in September for the Kupos? Key points that there are a few fronts that we can move ahead quite quickly on. One is the AI and data banks. They can put data banks in space, massive data banks, AI and so on. And this is leading out economically, but of course it's leaving countries that don't have access are not going to be part of this. So there are a few sort of key points in there that could be brought out, maybe just as a kind of sort of summary and an initial overture for further investigation or something.
Something, I don't remember when and where, but it was interesting because the comment was that since the artificial intelligence and big data generate a lot of warming, because the supercomputer are warming very much, should we put these machines on the moon inside the craters, the craters where where the sun never reaches?
shadowed regions.
Yeah, good idea, right?
Okay,
But
Amalie.
The color, the heat can be dissipated very, very.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good.
As I had mentioned before, Amalie, one of the challenges with respect to the UN is that there's the notion of being able to build the capacity to engage in terms of being able to make use of space resources, which is very different than necessarily having a launch capability. If we're about helping to build capacity and make use of the resources, that is a much more powerful and palatable position between the have and have-nots than a situation where they essentially demand a tithe to shut up and get out of the way.
Yeah,
which
yes,
which has been a very common position taken by various non-aligned countries.
yeah. It's not much to do with launch capacity. It's more to do with the geopolitics and these dynamics are very influential in the global security arena.
Amalie, that's not the province of COPUS. Nothing military is the province of COPUS. But what is it is this ability to be able to use those resources, being able to make effective use of remote sensing to deal with emergencies and weather events, being able to understand how it is that you can go and deal with what amounts to being closed loop systems and the ability to cope with water purification on demand, things, some technologies that are falling out from the work that can make a real difference. The whole notion of CubeSats and building as a STEM and capacity building initiative. There are many things where different nation state delegations can choose to engage and be a part of something as opposed to just be given a tithe. That's the point.
I understand the differentiation between the civilian space development and military usage, but the thing is that if we're promoting space for peace and we're going to question the ban on weapons in space and so on, we are going to have to broach some of these issues at some level.
It's not at COPUS, though. That is absolutely forbidden for COPUS.
It's a treaty on the peaceful uses of outer space. It does, the issue of weaponization is within the SRI mandate, and it's also at CUPOS and PAROS, and it does exist in the UN.
It exists within the UN, but COPUS's mandate is the peaceful uses of outer space. Nothing military. Nothing military.
Well, no, you can't actually say that peaceful uses, but not military.
That's the basis of the treaty and how division of responsibility is in the United Nations. If you cross that up, you get into an alignment fight, which is what has been tearing up COPUS. For most of its history, it was cooperative.
We're trying to offer an alternative to alignment fight, methodology that can enable a collaborative space security architecture, which has been talked about and promoted at the UN. And that can also go through CUPOS. This is part of the overall rationale. I mean, I don't want to get into, very deep argument of this, but what I'm suggesting is that if I take Adriano's paper for the IAC, make some notes on there, then maybe we could go through that for another round to see if something can be put together for September. Because there's always this kind of idea that this is of a civilian space development, but it's nothing to do with the military. But actually you can't, that boundary is very, I think that's where we have to, focus and find out what the premises are, how that interaction can happen, which is, it's foreign policy. It's the policy of space. Do you have a global space architecture or a nationalized bipolar world's view. You know, what are you looking for? But they're very difficult issues. I was just suggesting drawing up some kind of vague outline that could be looked at a bit. Obviously, it's not useful.
Did you look at the outline that was provided for the, upcoming summit for the future?
Yes, yes. I always see this kind of boundary there. This is okay. We're on the right side of the boundary. We're talking about, development, civilian development or social development, but we're not crossing that boundary.
We have to understand. We will have to understand while we are beginning to understand what is the discussion at COPOS, we will have to understand what is the discussion at ECOSOC, because ECOSOC is not a space committee, it is economic and social committee, in which space is one of the topics, I think, but is not the central focus of that committee. So we will have to understand what are these people discussing, and and how we can join this discussion, because even we don't know what is the calendar. I think all the meetings of the ECOSOC so far were in June and July, and I don't see any calendar after July. It
continues. They actually have activities on an ongoing basis in New York, typically at least once a month, if not once a week. Our representative in New York was, on site at the UN at least once a week, attending related meetings.
Well, it's also an economic issue, because the militarization costs money, and if you don't have space weapons ban and you have this focus on increased, more and more, I mean, where does it go? There's cyberspace. The amount of resources that are being sucked into this, what
will be the current global expenditure for military in the world this year will be 2.5 trillions. 2.5 trillions.
Yeah, well, it would suck most of it up into AI and cyberspace and data and all of this. It all gets sucked up into military budget.
And the expense for space is 100 billions. 100 billions versus 2.5 trillions. This is 2.5 trillion for debt and 100 billion for life, let me say. So it's a very insane balance, So, I know these figures because I'm trying to make my presentation in these days.
All right. I would also like to make one other point, is that a lot of these technologies are dual use technologies. I mean, the whole thing is just not realistic, because the militarization of space involves dual use technologies, which are also technologies for global development. So, how does this get stabilized into a plausible global platform? There are a number of issues there, and I think they're all relevant within the COPOS forum, including dual use technologies.
Yeah, but however, if we think maybe, I don't know, I'm just reasoning at loud voice, yes? Could we focus our political strategy at ECOSOC based on socio-economical concern and the right of development, right to development for all the people of Earth? That is a UN declaration of 1986 that development is a universal right for all people of Earth. So should we focus our, let me say, strategical line on that concept that civilian space is helpful for the development, the economical and social development of all people, while militarization is quite opposite to this concept. Is the contrary.
Well, to a certain level, I mean, everybody needs good security, but
I am saying it in very simple words, just to
yeah, you don't have to be marginalized about it, but there are kind of sort of points of logic in there, concepts that have already been exposed by the UN. There are points of logical points, rationales, ideas that we can bring out to strengthen the case for the 18th SDG.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going to talk about peacefulness, you should develop a kind of a logical, humanistic argument, but really based on technology and economics and social needs, not on a kind of an idea, a religious idea or something, but practical realities.
With this line, strategical line, we could be in tune with the scope of the ECOSOC, that is economical and social development for all peoples of Earth.
Well, you can do it both ways. It's also a philosophical and an ethical issue. The boundary's not really there. It's just a matter of how you want to present the argument. You can present it one way to ECOSOC and another way to COPOS, but the thing has to be developed. It's in there, or one can feel it's there. That there's kind of logic and genuine analysis. It's in there somewhere. But it needs to be seen and kind of, brought into a kind of conceptual framework where you can see how the pieces fit together. And I think that would be a very valuable contribution that SRI could make, an intelligent contribution, not a non-exclusive contribution. Trans-political, if you like. We're not addressing any particular political system.
Can we try to draft something about these concepts?
Yes, that's what I'd like to do. If you don't mind, can I take your IAC paper and then use that as the basis and make some comments and, kind of use that to put another kind of small framework together, so then you could look at that and see if that might be developed, something like that could be developed for September. Yes?
Excellent.
Okay, all right, thank you, great. Okay, I'll see what I can put some of these ideas down and you can have a look.
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel that the COPOS and the General Assembly, anybody, they're really looking for answers, and they've got kind of half of it. They understand the AI and the data and the security and the this and the that. They kind of understand it, but they haven't really fitted it all in together. And it is very critical moments, so that anything intelligent that we can say or contribute, something like that, would be appreciated, because it helps to move the discussions forward. And of course, the UN forums are very fragmented and very differentiated. So it's very difficult, because you're crossing from one discipline and then talking about another one. And, how do you piece that together? But I think it can be done. So, all right. Thank you. Yes, I'll work on that. Thank you, Adriano.
So, Amalie, a key point about that is that we know that successful statecraft in the United Nations is founded on drawing out a confluence of interest. If we go through and identify ways that can foster cooperation and collaboration, that is a win, okay? If we go through and we foster division, Okay, that is a fail.
Yeah, yeah,
So what we need to do is pick the things that we can work on that help draw out a confluence of interest. Not get people to dig their heels into the sand and take opposing views.
yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
I agree with you absolutely. It's difficult, and one has to be very sensitive, and so that language is very compatible to all parties, and it doesn't create a sense of divisiveness. There's a very competitive element in there. There has to be seen that the economics, the value of this is actually greater than the value of isolated nation state
And
interests.
yeah, you're quite right. There's a third C called competition there that is a part of the puzzle.
Yes. No, well, if it's worth more not to, then it's better. Yeah. But thank you. I'll try and draw something. Great. I can see you've made a note in the chat. Thank you, Adriano.
Okay, friends. What else we wanted to discuss today? I think we touched the IAC, we touched the couples, we touched ECOSOC.
So on ECOSOC, you mentioned that the letter you sent was specifically for this some of the future, right?
Yes.
But what about regarding has there been general NGO application to join ECOSOC? Is that I know Gary is well on his way on that process for space development, and are we similarly, or was that only for some of the?
We have completed the application for SRI. Dennis and myself, we have worked on that in May, and we completed. We received the confirmation that the application was received, and it is in process. So I think we have made what we were expected to do for ECOSOC, and now we should start to work with them, understand how we can start working with ECOSOC in which way. By the way, one question, Gary. You are at ECOSOC, you represent your Space Development Foundation, correct?
There is the application pending for that. Prior to that, for 14 years, I ran the delegation for the National Space Society.
Sorry, so you also have directed the delegation of the National Space Society at ECOSOC?
I was the administrator and lead technical representative for approximately 14 years.
Okay, and now NSS is forwarding this activity or not?
Carlton, bless his heart, announced that in the best of military tradition, as he put it, when a new commander-in-chief shows up, the old one has to disappear.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, it confuses the troops.
Yeah.
Okay. What relationship whatsoever this has to do with running a nonprofit volunteer organization, I have no idea.
Okay.
Well, but bear in mind, I do not have any form of military background whatsoever.
Neither me. However, so you are at ECOSOC, you are representing SDF. Is it
right?
You think it will be possible also be part of the SRI delegation or not?
The answer is yes. It's absolutely possible. And right now, the SDF does not have permanent status assigned. It just participation is allowed on a special exception basis. We're now in the third year of our application process.
Yeah. So, okay. So you should get the consultative status next year.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, okay, we can trust that you will keep us informed about the meetings, and if you participate to some meeting or
Yeah, I am trying to do that. Whenever I do anything, I am providing that information, of course, to
okay.
to SRI and to the Moon Village Association. And if I not surprising NSS, but that's their I just sent a nice note to Rick Janae saying, hey, there is as I put it, Rick, I understand that you're now taking point for NSS involvement with the United Nations and the NSS International Committee. Is that correct? Assuming that it is, are you willing and able to work with me? I want to close the loop with you concerning cooperation and collaboration with SRI. There are multiple things in play with respect to the IAF. I am the NSS delegate in my position as Director of Strategic Relationships and the IAC 2024 Milan. Okay. And I was about to send that to Rick Janae, because that reflects the concern that you express of wanting to coordinate more closely with NSS.
Yeah, I will
Problem with that?
I will write to Rick Genet.
Yep, you should do so as well.
Asking what is the International Committee doing with ECOSOC? If they are also delegated to ECOSOC or only to COPOS?
NSS is absolutely has special accreditation status with ECOSOC. Okay, that's that's part of the deal. As to what NSS is actually doing with it, that's a whole nother story. I think that it's something that they had not gotten around. It's not entirely clear to me that Rick has any clue about what goes on in New York. But that's why I just reached out to him to open up those channels of communication.
Okay, good. What else do we have, Robert? Do we have any other things?
Sorry for the background noise. I apologize. I don't think so. I mean, we have to. There is a lot of work to develop a winning or accepted side event if we want to be official. Like as you pointed out, there's essentially three kinds of side events to have with the Summit of the Future. There's a inside side event during the first 2 days of the Summit of the 4 days of the Summit of the Future. That would be hosted someplace on campus. There's an outside event that has a lower bar that they would still recognize and put on the program to invite everybody. And then third is to do our own event simultaneous during that time of the Summit of the Future. And then there's still the option of doing something the week of doesn't have to be the 13th, but it should be the 13th because we advertised it. I would say that even if we do something that's a warm-up for, by then we will know whether we're obviously Summit of the Future or not, because it's going to be following. And we've advertised that a lot. So we don't have to do a large thing like we did last time. We could we could move the large event with the multiple chairs, which was amazing. Thank you for everybody on the call for their assistance and support. We couldn't but we have to see. The time slot you get during the side event is small if it's official, compared to what we could do on the full day of the 13th. So in some ways, can be it should be looked at maybe as complementary, to keep the momentum going, and also to achieve our goal of influencing the General Assembly, which by the sum of the future, although a great venue, is that GA is over, and we don't want to lose the momentum that you got at Copious. I'm just brainstorming here. These are decisions that we'll talk about obviously on Friday. But there's multiple different configurations. But as you see in the requirements I've sent for the side event that's inside, you have to have your 2 states signing on and as partners, which we would want to do anyway. But there's and it's not clear that you could have it without your status. But all these need to be looked at, and these are all good problems to have. There's a lot of opportunities that we should all look at all of them, but they all have to be looked at very soon so that we have enough time to get the people in place to do it.
So, okay, we unfortunately, well, I don't know, unfortunately for us, maybe fortunately for him, Hank Rogers in these days is outside, is in the Antarctic. He is in a mission in the Antarctic continent. And so he cannot participate to our meeting next Friday. And I think, yeah, when we have talked to him last time, we were thinking about the 13th of September meeting at UN Plaza 777. Now, if we move to the 21st, let me say, we will have to inform Hank as soon as possible, and also we will have to understand if our event could be a side event, or it will be better to keep our room, that we are sure that we have it. in any case, not only as a plan B, not only as a backup, but to make it there, however, and if possible, also to make something inside the Summit of the Future, because the Summit of the Future, it is 3 days, I think. It's 22, 24.
It's 4 days. As I sent you, there's 2 days of side events and then 2 main day events. So, but the side event that we would have there
can we trust you that before Friday you will bring us more information about what is possible to do with the side events or not, and these kind of things? I don't know if you have to talk with someone, you can use your SRI affiliation and say that we applied for ECOSOC, etc., etc.
Yeah. So yeah, and Dennis posted there. Yeah, so I have sent to the. I'm not sure if my emails are getting through, but I've sent a number of the links. But I will investigate a little further down, peel some levels of the envelope or the onion back. But even if you do a side event, it would be even if they allowed you to do a whole day, you wouldn't want to do a whole day because you wouldn't get everybody. Because on those 2 days, everybody's going to have quite a number of events to choose from, and whether it's inside or outside. So there is a place to say that the 10th still happens. It in much a similar way as you did before, that it's a convening, and that's the way I framed it in your paper and your speech. And you as you asked me to do, that was the convening of the consortium to bring the consortium ideas, and then you won't have the opportunity of presenting those necessarily to the General Assembly, although we can put out a paper and a press release, but you will have maybe then that equivalent opportunity at the Summit of the Future that you would say, we convened our coalition, and these are the top. Now let's drill down and talk about these top issues. So there's complementary things. I will investigate hopefully by Friday, but as you know, it's hard to connect with these people. and see what options are available to us, and when we're going to know, like when they will notify us. They do have the deadline for some. I think Amalie has a question, and I welcome any feedback on anything I said to anybody.
Oh, hi, yes. I'd just like to mention, so for September, the summit, if you have a side presentation, there's something that you can contribute. If we can prepare a paper on a kind of sort of a integrated UN perspective, something for the way forward, space and peace and various types of applications that are kind of sort of running parallel. The paper is just that it's easier for, if there's a paper, people can upload it or something, it might get read a bit, but it doesn't necessarily involve speakers and a whole arrangement for a platform. It's much easier to access. So, I was thinking something written.
Yeah.
If we can give presentations, I think my presentation on the 18 SDG that I made at the ASDC will be perfect in that environment.
Well, let's see what we can come up with. Yeah.
If we can make two, that would be too much. Maybe.
Something.
We can make one on the 18 SDG and another on Space for Peace. Let's see.
Or put them together. I mean, why not?
Yeah, or put them together. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Let's see what we can do. Okay. So
the audience will be a little different, but much the same messages. Yeah.
Yes, we have to think about the audience, of course. Yes. So more. Yes, but however, our discussion of the 18 SDG is very clear. Right? We say that the 3K SDGs, the energy, industrial development, and the innovation are the pillars to sustain all the other SDGs, and they cannot be realized if confined to Earth. So the space is the real facilitator for all the SDGs. So this is a social discussion. Is nothing else than social and economical discussion. Therefore, I think it could be well centered on the summit for the future. However,
yes,
okay.
I agree.
Anything else? We can close maybe. Okay. Anything else? Tomorrow morning I will try to send the action items that we wrote here in the chat, and yeah, I don't know if I will have time to make a minutes of the meeting, detailed minutes. However,
Adriano, do you want the Fathom notes?
Yes, I have the Fathom notes also, I think, and we can yeah, put together.
So if you've got them, that's great.
Yeah, and yes, I also have I have took note of the action items in the chat. The chat will be saved at the end. So Gary, if you are so kind and I can send to you these materials, maybe you can make a very, very summary minutes of this meeting. Can I take profit of you?
Assuming that I'm able to get back to my computer in work,
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that. But
I know perfectly what is the nightmare of having a computer failed. So maybe I don't know. Maybe
this is not a computer failure. What this amounts to is that I am I leave here and I get in a tow truck. Yeah, and I don't know when I'm going to get back to my computer.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, fortunately it is, but I will, at a minimum, I'll go through and
I'm
send you all
sorry.
the material that was generated. And if
I'm
I can do
sorry.
something with it, take it to the next level, I will.
I am always trying to find the program manager here and there to to give minutes of meetings and these kind of things, but I know that is my
It turns out
it's my
that,
cross,
Fathom has
it's
gone a
my
bit,
cross until the end.
Fathom has gone dramatically better at the general notes. It still has no sense of nuance whatsoever. Okay, and it still says some pretty stupid things from time to time, but it gets, excuse me.
And it doesn't get most of your jokes. It's over his head, right?
This is true. Okay, but it's been suggested that despite the fact that I find my jokes funny,
And that's clear, pleasant it's a clear and pleasant danger that
yes, indeed.
doesn't understand your jokes.
Okay, okay, I will do it. Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody. Have a good day, a good
All
night,
right.
a good afternoon, whatever, wherever you are.
All right.
Okay.
Take care.
Ad
Thank
astra.
you,
Bye
everybody.
bye.